Welcome to Moving to Portugal Daily, episode 254. I'm Mateus Costa. Today we cover lease language that wins visas, exact rental clauses, receipts, and landlord documentation SEF accepts, with the latest numbers and practical steps. Hook and quick update. In 2026, SEF decisions still hinge on accommodation evidence more than many applicants expect. A clear, signed lease plus traceable payment receipts can tilt an officer from asking for more proof to approving your residency step. In this episode, I promise 3 deliverables: copy-ready contract lines in English and suggested Portuguese, the exact receipt fields SEF looks for, and concrete euro numbers for deposits and typical rents across Lisbon, Porto, and the Algarve. No theory, usable text you can ask your landlord to sign this week. Section 1. Why lease language matters to SEF. SEF treats accommodation as both legal and factual proof. Legally, the lease shows your declared address. Factually, payment trails and landlord identification show the arrangement is real. Officers check 3 linked items: the lease wording itself, who the landlord is, name and NIF, and a payment history that matches the amounts on the lease. If any link is missing or vague, SEF will ask for additional evidence, delaying your appointment or risking refusal. Here are the patterns I see cause problems: leases that say subject to agreement or duration to be defined, receipts that lack landlord NIF or signature, and rent paid in cash with no documented receipt. SEF prefers a chain they can verify quickly: clear dates, explicit purpose, landlord NIF, and traces of payment. That's why specific wording in the lease and specific content on receipts matters more than a glossy listing or an Airbnb confirmation. Section 2. Exact clauses and sample text you can copy. Below are copy-ready lines to include in any private lease. Use the English text with the Portuguese suggestion beneath it. 1. Purpose and use for immigration. The landlord confirms that the property at full address will be available to the tenant named below from start date to end date, and that this document may be used by the tenant as proof of residence for immigration and registration purposes. Portuguese. O senhorio confirma que o imóvel em morada completa estará disponível para o inquilino indicado abaixo desde data início até data fim, e que este documento poderá ser utilizado pelo inquilino como prova de residência para fins de imigração e registro. 2. Duration. This is a fixed-term lease for a minimum period of 12 months, renewable by mutual agreement. Português. Contrato de arrendamento a termo certo pelo período mínimo de 12 meses, renovável por acordo mútuo. 3. Rent, deposit, and fees. Monthly rent is euro amount. The tenant paid a security deposit of euro amount, equivalent to 1 or 2 months of rent, held by the landlord and refundable according to Portuguese law. Agency fees, if any, are specified as euro amount. Portuguese translation provided in the show notes. Practical numbers to use as benchmarks. Security deposit normally 1 to 2 months of rent. In central Lisbon, expect at 1-bedroom market range roughly 900 to 2,500 euros per month in 2026. Porto, 1-bedroom roughly 700 to 1,600 euros. Algarve coastal markets, 700 to 1,800 euros. If your rent is outside these ranges, include a short market note appendix signed by the landlord explaining the pricing. That helps SEF contextualize higher rents. Section 3. Receipts, landlord documents, common mistakes, and a 7-step checklist. First, receipts. What SEF wants to see on a rent receipt or recibo de renda: tenant name, landlord NIF, tax number, property full address, date of payment, amount paid in euros, payment method, and landlord signature. Sample receipt line: recibo de renda, EU, landlord name, NIF, XXX, recibi de, tenant name, a quantia de, amount euros, referente a renda del mes de, MM/YYY, morada, full address, assinatura, blank. Second, proof of payment. Bank transfers with the landlord's name in the beneficiary field and an IBAN are the strongest evidence. If you pay cash, request a signed, dated receipt that includes the landlord's NIF and a photocopy of their ID. Third, landlord documents. SEF expects the landlord's name and NIF on the lease. A signed copy of the landlord's ID or passport is helpful, but do not publish or share IDs publicly. Common mistakes and quick fixes. 1. Vague duration. Fix by amending the lease to a 12-month minimum term. 2. Missing NIF on receipts. Ask landlord to reissue receipts with NIF. 3. Short-term tourist listing used as evidence. Replace with a formalized private lease or obtain a host letter plus bank payments that match. How to fix these in 30 to 90 days. Get a signed lease with the clauses I read earlier, make the first month and deposit by bank transfer so you have a trace, and request monthly receipts immediately after each payment. Now the 7-step checklist and timing. Today, ask the landlord for their NIF, full name, and an email confirmation of terms. Within 1 to 7 days, sign a lease containing the immigration purpose clause and the 12-month minimum. Within 1 to 14 days, pay deposit and first month by bank transfer and request a receipt that includes NIF and signature. Ongoing, collect monthly receipts. Before SEF appointment, compile lease, last 3 receipts, bank transfer confirmations, and a short landlord letter confirming availability. If a required element is missing, seek a written amendment from the landlord rather than informal promises.
Call to action. I've put the exact English and Portuguese clause templates, a sample recibo de renda, and a 1-page checklist in the show notes and at movingtoportugal.com/templates. Use them as a starting point and ask your landlord to sign. If you want to document review, my course includes a template review service where we check leases against SEF expectations. Remember, don't improvise on wording that affects legal residency. Use the templates and get local legal sign-off if your case is complex. Let's run the numbers and make your move to Portugal.
That's your clear action plan for today. Apply it and move closer to your Portugal life. Next episode, I'll walk through landlord letters and registration at the Junta de Freguesia, what forms to fill, and how to avoid the common back and forths. Bom dia from Portugal. Let's run the numbers and make your move to Portugal.